do you know what's like funny about that? Like, you know, with a role model, man. Like, what I found, I think what a role model like really is it's more than just like a person. It's more than just a man or a woman. You know what I mean? Like a role model can literally be like the environment. It can be violence. You know, like the role model is like, yo, I just want to grow up in this sort of area. So that's like your role model. That's like right there. Like I don't want to like grow up like this. I don't want to like be around like shootings. I don't want to be around drugs. You know. So I'm gonna get myself out of here. You have like somebody like 50 Cent, man, like who I totally admire. Where you know he didn't grow up with a father or anything. Where his role model was like his environment. You know his like mentality comes from like the fucking streets, man. Like that right there is his role model. Is the streets. You know what I mean? His hustle, man. Like that's why I personally think like a role model is just more than like just a person, man. Like it can be a mentality, it can be it can be a human being, it can be the streets, it can be it can be like anything, man. It can be your health, it can be the gym. So in reality it doesn't have to be that person, man. It can be anything, man.
Yeah. You think it's like a role model is like a personal standard that you apply yourself to.
It can even be like an imagination or a vision you have. That can be your role model.
True. That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Where do you think people get those ideas from? Those ideas of like, I want my life to move in a certain direction, or I want to aspire to a certain standard. Because I feel like, for me at least, I have some people in my life, and I know other people have this also, is that you see a person and you're really, really, really interested in what they do, the way that they carry themselves, and the way that they have a standing in the world. And so you look at a person like that and you're like, shit, I would like to be like that. I would kind of like to have a life like that. And usually it's like they call it respect. You really respect this person. You're like, I could see myself in those shoes. And it's only through actually meeting people like that and having the ability to see people in that environment to then be like, okay, I'm going to move myself in that direction. And that gives you like a little glimpse, a little idea. I mean, I know for me, for sure, getting into self-development was, I saw people living a certain type of life, and I was like, oh fuck, I would like to move in that direction. And that's kind of the seed. That's the little seed that's like, okay, let me start pushing myself a little bit so that I can get to a path that would lead me to that goal in the end. So moving in that direction started out with seeing somebody I really admire, and then beginning to form a goal of what I wanted.
Yeah, so basically the guideline was from that individual.
Yeah, or from a group of individuals.
A group of individuals, 100%. It just.
So what do you feel like? How do you get your inspiration, your motivation to move forward? Where does it come from? Does it come from Marchand? Is it inside of you, or is it some kind of standard that you'd like to achieve for a future version of yourself? Like, where does it really come from?
Like, be honest with you, I think it comes from like a group of individuals of what you see, right? Because I was thinking when I was like making a video blog of like what I found to be successful, like the whole spirituality, business wise, fitness wise, and romance wise, where somebody else's like happiness. So let's say that we're talking about some guy that's into like metal or something like that, heavy metal community. A lifestyle like Dan Blazarian they would not give a shit. That doesn't fuel their passions in life. They
wouldn't be like, oh shit, I want to like stack money and fuck porn
man.
stars. They'd be like, no, I want to make music.
Yeah, I want to make music. That's like what motivates them. Because it's funny, when I was a part of like a marketing company, with them, that was the motivation, and anything other than that did not make any sense to them. It just blew their mind. Where there would actually be people where their motivation was, I like self-help, I like fitness, I don't really care about money. Where there's like, what the fuck do you mean you don't care about money?
Yeah,
like
very, very, very different way of looking at the world.
Yeah.
Different way of looking at the world.
Yeah, where there's like, are you crazy? Like, don't bullshit me. Don't bullshit me. Like what is this? Of course you want prostitutes. Of course you want the money. And like, where to them, like, where you're like, say, like, you know what? I just like want to like be in a flow state 24/7. I just want to like be very conscious of my thoughts, and to them, it's just like, what the fuck is this stupid?
They're gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You stupid motherfucker. I want to make money. I'm talking about money, right? And so if you're not on the same path as them, why would you surround yourself with somebody like that? You know?
100%.
I think being like living the goals of another person breeds definitely fear, a lot of insecurity, and a lot of resentment, because all of a sudden you're living out the goals of somebody else, and in your head, whether you know it or not, and also in your body, you're gonna be like, why am I here right now?
Yeah.
You know, what's the point? And over time that builds up, right? And the only way to fix that, and for me this can sometimes be a curse too. The only way to fix it is to start moving towards your goals. You know, it's the only way to fix it, whether you like it or not, is to start moving yourself in a direction where you're there, like you're aligned with where you want to be. And that's an important thing to realize too. You know, not to get caught off with the goals of somebody else because you haven't really decided what it is that you like.
Yeah, because I find that a lot of people, man, they're really lost with like what they really want to do. And I personally don't feel that there's anything wrong with that, because I feel that everybody needs to go through experiences in their life. You know, sometimes the experience in itself is not something that they want to do, that they think that they want to do at that time.
Yeah.
Because, like, my dad personally, he's more of a guy, like, what do you want to do? And as soon as you want to do something different, he's like, oh my fucking god, it's a new change. We'll find something to do.
Yeah.
The thing is, you need to go through all of these things. Let's say that at one point in your life, you say, do you know what? My true calling is I want to start a door company. You know what I mean? 2 years in, you're just like, I actually don't want to do this. And then you move on to something else.
Yeah.
Every single experience that you have is going to lead up to the end of what you really want to do.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you this, like, when I was younger, I was into heavy metal. I thought I was going to be a metal artist. I thought I was going to have a band. Okay? And then I got into bodybuilding after that. And I left behind music. I still love metal music, of course. But then I got into bodybuilding. And then after bodybuilding, for a few years, I started getting into self-help. And then I'm here now. You know, I'm here now. And now all of them come full circle. I'm starting a blog on fitness. I'm starting a blog on, like, self-development. And also finding your passions, which has to do with also, you know, music as well. So I find that every single experience that you do have, that you're no longer a part of, is ultimately going to lead up to the main path that you're going to have in life.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what you want to do now, there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing I find that's wrong is if you're not doing shit right now. If you're not doing anything, you know, you're not even following your passions, you're not getting any experience to, like, know what you're going to do later on.
Yeah, and a good analogy too was in Way of the Superior Man, David Data had a good analogy, which was kind of, it was like peeling away the layers of an onion. So what happens is that initially you have no idea what your purpose is, and you think, for example, in your case, you thought it was heavy metal.
Yeah.
And so you really start to dig into heavy metal, and you're like, okay, maybe this isn't what I want to do, and you start moving to another channel, right? And it's like you keep moving to these different channels, and it's like peeling away layers of the onion to get to the core.
Yeah.
And then
100%.
once you move through all those directions that you need to go to, eventually you're going to reach a point where you find your true purpose.
Yeah.
You find the thing that's most aligned with you and your personality. And it's going to be really different, man. It's going to be really different for every single person, because every single person is unique. Yeah. Right? And so you do need to go through those experiences to figure out, all right, is this what I like to do? Is this not what I like to do? You know, is this career path making me happy? Or do I want to move in a new direction that might suit me better? So peeling away layers of an onion, trying to find your actual real purpose. You know, what's at its core.
Yeah. And I find, like, speaking on that topic, as well as everybody has their own purpose in life, I find it's kind of like a weird idea. You know, I find that everything is a pie. You know what I mean? It's just that in this sort of society, one half of the pie, let's say that one half of the pie, which is like 25%, is looked at as the 100%. So let's say it's a business. You know what I mean? The businessman is looked higher than, like, the musician or the baker, or let's say the bartender. Okay, the bartender. He's looked up as, you know, the 100%, even though he's only 25% of the pie. I find that every single person in that pie has their role that's going to influence, you know, the whole pie. everybody has as much importance as everybody else. So let's, for example, right? For me, for a blogger, okay, let's say all bloggers out there, we have our own sort of influence. For me personally, I love 50 Cent. You know what I mean? I love 50 Cent, you know. I love Elliot Hulse. You know, what's another guy? Eckhart Tolle. All these,
50 Cent and Eckhart Tolle in the same sentence.
You know what I mean? Like I listen.
Like
you know what I mean? Like the musician, like a blogger musician.
But you like the fact that they have their own passion and they do their own shit.
You know what I mean? Like his music inspires me.
Yeah.
For 50 Cent, you know, 50 Cent. Let's say 50 Cent's influence could be Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan has nothing to do with like gangster rap whatsoever. Michael Jordan's influence is like Donald Trump. I don't know if it actually is, but let's use that as an example. Everybody influences everybody in like their certain pie. So you can't look at one piece of the pie and say that's like the most important, that's the most influential, and fuck everybody else. Where everybody has their place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like let's say the chef of some billionaire cooks some quality food, really good quality food. This is going to ultimately affect his thinking. Because he's not being fed shit, he's being fed quality food that actually stimulates the brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everybody in that pie influences everybody. So there's like, say like, you know what, son, you want to be a musician, you're a fucking loser. Be a doctor, be a lawyer, be a businessman. You know what I mean? The rest are just losers. No. Everybody has their importance and everybody influences everybody.
Yeah.
Whatever whatever your path is, follow that path, man. Like, know what your role in life is. People can look at that statement like what your role is, like oh, just be happy at McDonald's. If that's not your fucking path, then why are you fucking there? Quit that job. Follow your path. Yeah. What do you want to do?
But it's not their fault though at the same time, because a lot of people they're like, what they're doing is they're living a certain type of lifestyle and they haven't really thought about what their goals are and what they actually want to do. And it's funny, it's really funny too, because we think as humans that we think a lot, right? That we have ideas and beliefs that we form in our heads and then we go and act them out. But in reality, a lot of the things that are in our head have actually been put there subconsciously. We haven't really thought them out. We haven't really talked about them. We haven't put them out into the world and then started to trim a few of the branches and to figure out, wait, do I actually believe this? Or is this just something that's been passed down to me over so many repeated experiences, so many of the same type of movie that I've seen, or so many of the same type of conversation I've had with my mom and my dad? You know, is that where the belief came from? And so until you really put into thinking what you really care about, and I'm a big believer in like writing shit down, you know, writing down your goals, writing about what you care about, because until you go through that process of figuring out what you want, you know, if you're the McDonald's worker, you can be like, oh, I want to become a musician, you know, until you put it onto paper, then you're going to have a real true path that you can work towards. Yeah. You know, that's the big thing. And like for sure, like what I realized was that when you're not working towards your path, when you're not actually moving in the direction that you want to go in, it'll show. So there's certain weird ways that it'll come out of your personality. If you ever see somebody like snap at you, you know, if you ever see somebody who has a weird kind of addiction, you know, maybe they binge eat, maybe they do something that's just out of the ordinary. You know, they have a certain response to something you say to them. It's not really the fact that in the moment they feel irritated or in the moment they feel like they need to do something. It's actually just a building up of the feeling that I'm not happy with where I'm at. Yeah. So absolutely, they all fit in the puzzle. And what I really feel like is that if they were to connect to their purpose and to do something that they really enjoy, and that's like not some woo-woo bullshit. I know we live in the real world and shit happens and you have to work certain jobs at certain times to sustain, to live in the society. But I feel like if you were to move in just a small little direction into somewhere that you'd rather be, then everybody would be better off. Everybody around you and yourself too. You know, it's a big thing.
Yeah, because like, I just don't want it to be misinterpreted, right? What I mean about like working at McDonald's, I understand that people work at McDonald's because they're trying to fund themselves, to fund their future, what they want to do. So the job in itself, I'm not saying it's bad or like you're an idiot or, you know, you're doing it wrong. You know, what I'm trying to say, whatever you're doing right now should ultimately be trying to fund that path that you want to do. Because I find like if you're working a job that you're not happy with, you know what I mean, it's just going to transfer over. You're just going to be a fucking dick. Okay, you're going to be a dick. You're going to make other people's lives suck. Your life is going to suck. Your family's lives are going to suck because you're not doing what you want to do. You're not happy. So this is why I feel so strongly about people following their path and doing what they really want to do.
Yeah, yeah. And that's because you're not saying that because you have a resentment towards those people.
Yeah.
You're saying that because you've experienced that yourself. And you've realized that if you walk that path that you don't want to be on, you're going to lash out at people in a way that might not be the best thing to do.
Yeah.
So it's something you've realized over time.
Because like I'm all about like positivity, man. I want to be surrounded by people that love what they do, man. Like, you know, people that love what they do, that contribute like positivity, that give value. Like a good analogy of this, imagine like having like a jug of water, okay? And a jug of water was all clear, everybody's positive, everybody loves doing what they're doing. And then that one person comes in who totally sucks as a person, who's not following his path, who's just all over the place, you know what I mean? It's just negative. He's that food coloring. You drop that in, the water's no longer going to be clear, it's going to be a little pink.
I see.
You know what I mean? It's going to affect everybody else. Like, wow, this is such a drag, you know what I mean? Like, such a drag. Whenever he's around, I just, you know, I don't feel good. You know what I mean? Because he's just so negative. I don't like to be around him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know
it's
what I
all
mean?
yeah, it's all good. Some people, you know, that's their path. And like what I actually think about it is that the person working at McDonald's, that really is, you know, I think that's actually the best thing that they could do in that moment because it's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is what they're doing. If that's their karma at the moment, is to work that job and to do the thing they're supposed to do, and it's fine. You know, it's completely fine. And actually, if you're working at McDonald's or some equivalent, the fact that you might ask yourself a question, just the act of asking yourself a question, am I happy here? You're already better off than, you know, 90% of the population because that thought never comes into their head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So somebody who might be interested in a topic like this, who might be watching this video, even if you feel like you're not where you need to be and there's so many things you need to do, just the fact that you're asking yourself that question, being objective, you know, the fact that you're asking that question puts you in a position that's just so much better than anybody else, and that's fine. You know, that's the right thing that you need to be doing, and I think that's a belief that needs to be there also. It's like, it's okay, you know, things will be fine. It's just that you need to start moving yourself in a direction, and maybe things like this, you know, maybe different sources of advice could come and help you out, and to give you some guidance into moving to where you need to be over time.
Yeah, you know, it's like pretty funny about. I know we're beating up the McDonald's employee, like not trying to beat you up or anything, but I find, in my experience, I find the dude that's like working for like some big company, you know, who's like pretty much a suit monkey, no offense to you, are probably more unhappy with their lives than the person that's working at McDonald's, because there's always an expectation for these guys, like, your life should be this. For somebody that's working at McDonald's, you're done for McDonald's, you're whoever the hell you want to be. You're not like, you have to live like this, you have to do this, you have to do this, like as soon as you're done work. But for that guy, he's looked at like, this is the stuff that you should really enjoy. You know what I mean? So let's say you're a free spirit, you like freedom in your life, you know, you listen to Jimi Hendrix when you go home. That's not going to mix with your life in like a corporate sort of company where you're wearing a suit 24/7, where you have no social life because you're always in that goddamn office. You know what I mean? Like, you're looked at as sort of this. The McDonald's employees is kind of like, this is your job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And most of the time, it's not even their identity. You know, it just sucks out of them. Like, for me personally, I was working in like a sort of a corporate company. You know, I couldn't do a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do.
Yeah, and how did you feel as you were going through the motions and working with that company?
I felt dead inside. Like, I literally, like, there was one day I had like a plan in my head, and this is the worst thing you can do, is set like a sort of a date to like quit or like whatever. Like, when I get
you think
this,
it's a bad thing to do that, or a good thing?
I think it's a horrible thing to do, because that day is never going to come. It's never a good time to like quit a company. It's never a good time. Like, a set sort of date, I was like, as soon as I get this amount of money, I'm going to dip. Or when the stars align, I'm going to quit. You know what I mean? Then you start hating it more. You know, it starts sucking away from you. As soon as you just feel it, you like your body, my body, like every single day, it's like you should not be doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You should start now. It's never a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It's never a good time.
Yeah.
As soon as your body starts like saying that, man, like you should listen to it. And I was dumb enough to like stay there so goddamn long.
Yeah, that's good. It's good that you realize that too. The whole body aspect.
Like,
Because in my experience too, your body will scream at you. It'll literally scream at you, and it'll say, "Hey, dude, you know what's going on here? You know why are you doing this thing that you don't really want to be doing?" It'll come right at you, right?
like your body can only take so much because it got to a point where my mind and my body were just like at such a disconnect. It said, "Fuck this!" Like there was a point where I just said, "Fuck this."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could not go any longer. It was like, "Fuck this. We're not doing this anymore."
Yeah. No more.
You know what I mean? It's no more.
No more.
And that was the day I quit. And I am actually happy that was the day I quit. It was way before the specific date of like, oh, like when I get this amount of money, then, you know, then we're going to eject. It was way before that time. Because I knew deep down inside I should not be there. I should be doing other shit. Am I, you know, looking at it, am I making as much money as I could have been if still working there? You know, not right now. But am I way fucking happier? Fuck yes. 100% happier.
Yeah. And that's all that matters.
All that matters. You know what I mean?
That's dope. Yeah, that's sick, man.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.